what I consider what just happened to be a unique update when it comes to Hedera. Now, what do I mean by this, even though nothing I say is financial advice? Well, not too long ago, Hedera made a post saying how they have been awarded Best Web3 Developer Tools North America 2025 by GFM Review. Now, why do I find this pretty interesting? Well, some people may be thinking, okay, it's just kind of like a trivial thing to be awarded, something like that, because in some cases, people may be thinking, oh, it could be a little bit subjective and all this. But at the same time, I find it pretty impressive because, again, some people like to say, oh, people forgot about Hedera, they don't care about it anymore. But still at the same time, if I take a look at just this award right here, I think it kind of showcases sort of the recognized fundamentals of something like Hedera because, I wasn't expecting this. If they didn't have this award, so to speak, right, would I still be a fan of it? Yeah. This does nothing actually in terms of me liking it more or not. But at the same time, I just find it pretty unique because, it is pretty impressive that they even won an award at a time like this because people may be taking a look at something like HBAR and they're like, oh, take a look at the price of HBAR. It's not doing the best and all this. I mean, keep in mind, right? HBAR, in terms of market cap, is actually still top 25 within this space. So yeah, it hasn't done the best comparatively speaking to, let's say, December of 2024, but that could be said with a bunch of other altcoins. And I remember back in 2024, the market cap was around 1.5 billion and all this, especially before it had that rally back in December. But I'm just saying, it's not, I think, kind of that disappointing for me to see how arguably, even as of right now, with a market cap around 6 billion, even though, yeah, it's had a pullback from around 13 billion. However, in my perspective, it's not as low as it was back in 2024 at one point. That's just kind of my point of view. So ever since 2024, actually, HBAR hasn't done that, I think, in my personal perspective. I can't speak on anyone's behalf. I don't think it's done that bad, but at the same time, comparatively speaking to back in December of 2024, yeah, then it's not done the best. But I still kind of consider how, even still, despite all this, even winning an award like that, and I think that kind of showcases how sometimes these, developers or some projects out there, they don't really consider sometimes just only the price of a project, right? I think even for a lot of enterprises out there, if sometimes they actually want to use the technology of a certain project, are they going to care about the price in some cases? If the technology is actually good, I don't know why it would be such a big factor. Like personally for me, if I was an enterprise and I'm looking to partner with a certain project, and let's say the price isn't hypothetically doing the best because altcoins are not doing good or whatever, something like that, would that still make me feel like, oh, that means the fundamentals are not good? Well, how does that make sense in some cases? If nothing bad actually happened to the fundamentals, I think sometimes hypothetically the price seems a little bit trivial when compared to something like that. Sometimes this right here kind of showcases that even still, despite the project not doing the best in terms of price, sometimes in terms of fundamentals, it is still kind of recognized, but that's just my point of view. Now, the thing is, though, when people take a look at something like Hedera, they like to say, oh, people are not really going to care about something like this because it is a little bit different when compared to some other projects out there. Like, for instance, when I first entered into this space, my kind of mindset was, okay, only like projects that have this blockchain type of kind of vibe, right? And that's all I thought that really had been around. That's all I thought that existed actually. But then when I take a look at Hedera, Hedera Hashgraph, it actually doesn't use, again, traditional blockchain technology. It uses something called a directed acyclic graph. It's a little bit more of an acquired taste, personally, in my perspective, where it wasn't something I really thought about. But then once I was in this space, I looked into it, and then I kind of began to understand what it was all about. So to me, I don't think Hedera is ever going to become as popular as something like an Ethereum or something like that, or like a BNB chain, but I don't necessarily expect it to do so anyways, and I don't need it to do that anyways, in my perspective. Like, personally for me, if HBAR never has a bigger market cap than BNB or something like Ethereum, like, I'm not going to complain about that. It's pretty difficult to achieve something like that, so it's not something I would necessarily kind of expect anyways. However, the thing is this, if for whatever reason, hypothetically, HBAR, in a make-believe scenario, like let's say it was at $3, at the market cap of around 127.5 billion, which it would have considering current circulating supply, Like that by no means is a groundbreaking figure within this space. We saw BNB reach a new all-time high during this cycle, but actually back in 2021, the market cap was over 100 billion at one point. And again, that was years ago. Like this market cap is by no means going to be anything groundbreaking or something like that. But I mean, I don't really expect HBAR to do that anyways, because even if we take a look at the concept of hypothetically $3, HBAR currently is around 20 times lower than that. When I take a look at Ethereum, it's not even 5 times lower than 10 grand. But that's just my point of view. Now, granted, though, I'm not going to be looking at a microcap because, I mean, sure, if there's something with a very low market cap, in theory, like the ceiling could be a little bit more in some cases, but who knows? I'm not going to be able to know which microcap is going to do this or do that. So I instead just focus on projects that have a pretty good following, that already have a pretty established like market cap presence. Like for instance, again, HBAR is top 25. But the thing is, like, it's not like top 5 or something like that. It's not like top 10. So it doesn't have such a overly massive market cap, but it's not like way too small either, in which, I just don't really want to believe in something with like a super low market cap. That's just my point of view. But in the meantime, though, my perspective is that, yeah, it's just pretty interesting to kind of see Hedera win some sort of award, actually. It is pretty interesting. I mean, it's not really going to change, I guess, the fundamentals of Hedera, but it's pretty cool nonetheless because, yeah, I just think it's pretty cool. Now, some of my friends out there, they don't really care about it because they're like, oh, the price of HBAR is not really doing the best. But again, I think something like this kind of showcases that sometimes if the price is hypothetically low, it doesn't necessarily showcase the fundamentals of a project, right? If let's say every time the price had a pullback, the fundamentals became worse, then that's a different case. But I don't think in some cases that is the case. So I think something like this just kind of showcases that. Also, my point of view is this when it comes to something like Hedera. They're kind of doing this without really any new sort of partnerships and anything like that, at least that I've seen as of late. And still it's being recognized as something like this. Which it could have the reasons behind it, though, because I think if we take a look at Hedera's governing council, if we take a look at just the scale of the enterprises that are part of that, maybe could that factor into what happened here? Who knows? Because if we take a look at something like Mondelez, they're part of the Hedera governing council. Could that have maybe affected, in terms of the choosing of the winner of this award? Who knows if that played a factor, but it wouldn't necessarily surprise me, I suppose, just by taking a look at just Hedera just overall, right? Not just only when it comes to the price of HBAR. But yeah, I just wanted to make a updated video to talk about my perspective when it comes to this. I mean, it's just kind of like personally for me, if let's say I play tennis and then I get like a reward, like a participation trophy, I mean, it's not going to make me a better player. It's not really going to make me, I guess, that happy. But at the same time, it's just pretty cool, right? Having something that maybe I could, put somewhere in my wardrobe or something like that, or just kind of showcase it. I mean, I don't know, but I'm just saying, it's just something a little bit like that. If let's say Hedera got like a physical trophy or something like that, where are they going to put it? You know what I mean? I guess, yeah, I mean, they could put it somewhere, but I'm saying, like, it's not the most interesting thing out there, but I find it pretty cool nonetheless. However, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm still staying patient, and that's all I can do actually, because the market's going to do its thing. I can't control that. I'm just going to wait and see what happens, but in the meantime, I'm still holding, and that's pretty much about it. However, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but I just want to say thank you for watching. I hope you all have a nice day. I'll catch you all in the next one. It's been Lee the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.